Hi everyone, it's your boy Ricky here for Honeybee Stamps. I hope you're doing well today. In today's card, we're going to be using some products from the latest release. And this time we're going to be making a card. I'm making the card for me. So, not sure how often you're able to do this or you do this, but I decided to make a card that kind of represents my kind of life journey through traveling. So, I decided this is going to be a simple card, only because I'm making it for me and I want it to be simple so I can keep it in my office. So we're going to go ahead and get to doing that. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Secondly, click that notification bell so that you know when new videos come out. Third, leave some comments down below. Maybe tell me what state you live in. And lastly, share the love. If you know someone that might like this video, go ahead and send it out to them. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to be using today on the desk. Okay, so we are going to be using some of the state seals that we have here. We have Illinois, Florida, and Virginia. And as the video goes through, we'll talk about why I chose those states. We have the coordinating dies that go along with these. We're going to be using the Plain Awesome stamp and die set. We're going to be using the Airmail embossing folder. And then we're going to be using some khaki cardstock, or, I don't know, what's this called? Khaki, I believe. And then we're going to be using some black cardstock and some white cardstock and some ink. So let me go ahead and get ready for the first step. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some embossing, and we're going to use a technique kind of like, I believe it's called like blackout or something like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to find which area is the area that does, or that's like the flat part of the embossing folder. So what you would kind of do is just feel around and see what parts are going to be raised. So I know this is going to be raised. You can't really see this. Let's see. So there's this leaning tower of Pisa right here. And this part right here is actually raised. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually place my paper on there, and then on the opposite side, I'm just going to take some black ink. I'm going to cover all of this up. And then as I get it covered up, I'll run it through the die cutting machine, and then you'll see what it looks like as it comes out. So let me get this covered up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I know this looks a little messy and it's okay, but let's go ahead and see what this looks like. There we go. And I love it. It's very neutral, and I think it looks really cool with just kind of like the tan paper along with the black indentions. It just looks really cool. So let me go ahead and get this cleaned up because it's messy, and I'll be right back for the next step. Okay, so now that we got the card panel done, now we are going to stamp out our stamps here. So I'm just going to use some intense black ink from Honeybee Stamps to do that. And one of the reasons I decided to make this card today is because, I've been a little off lately, and I'm not for sure why. Nothing really super bad or anything, just a little down. And I got to thinking when I was trying to find a project for me to do for Honeybee, I was like, you know what? I really need to celebrate where I am, how far I've come, how many good things have happened in my life. And a lot of that is because I was able to move around and leave, my hometown and explore the world. And I've been able to do that. And I need to celebrate that. So I thought this card would be a great way to have in my office at work. So like when I'm there, I can look at it and be like, wow, I am who I am today because I have been able to persevere and get through things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and clean these stamps up, and then we're going to come back, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of coloring on these. It's nothing major because I'm just going to choose some colors to just give it a little bit of pop. I don't want to take too much away from it, so I'll be right back. Okay, so we have our images stamped out, and literally I am not doing anything super crazy here. I'm just giving it a little bit of touch of color that I want to see when I'm looking at it at my desk. When we think of Florida, we definitely think of pink flamingos. So I decided to go ahead and get this flamingo in here pink. So, I mean, super easy, nothing crazy. Here, living in Chicago, think of the buildings. And I just want to paint the Sears Tower here, or excuse me, the Willis Tower, which will always be called the Sears Tower. And then last but not least, in my home state of Virginia, I believe this is Mabry Mill, which is a historic place in Virginia that I went to so many times when I was a kid. And I'm just going to paint the house. And there we go. That's all the color I'm adding to these. Very simple. Again, I'm making this card for me, so I'm doing what I want to with this card. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the coordinating dies and get this cut out. And I believe I'm going to do, well, after I get it out of this packaging, this glue, y'all, is serious. So I'm going to cut these out using the die that like goes straight to the line. And then I'm going to use this kind of like, I don't know, postage stamp, I guess, die. I'm going to cut black circles out, and then I'll come back to show you what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is place the seals on top of the black pieces here. So I'm just going to cut some foam tape on each one and place that on the back. Probably should have did a bigger piece there. Let's try. Let's do another piece. There we go. Then we'll just pull off the back. And then I want to add some liquid glue on the back because I want to make sure I get this nice and even on the postage stamp portion because it is pretty tight when you go to put this on. So we're just going to place this down. Move it around a little bit to make sure it's nice. There we go. So it's just barely noticeable, but I like it. So I'm going to do the remaining two, and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and place the card panel on the card base. I did cut this down so that there is a white border around it. We're just going to place that down to make sure it has even borders. That looks good. And then I think with these guys, I'm just going to place these onto the card to the left here. And I'm kind of doing them in the order that I moved to. So I was born and raised in Virginia. I moved to Florida when I was about 22, I think. And then I lived there for about 11 years, and then I moved to Illinois. So I'm going to put Illinois on the top. We'll put Florida in the middle and Virginia at the bottom. And I'm just going to glue those down as well. All right, there we go. All right, and so the next step is to put on the sentiment. And I debated on two different ones, Life is a Beautiful Journey and Oh, the Places You'll Go. And I decided to go with Oh, the Places You'll Go because it is one of my favorite books that I read like probably late, maybe like early teens, maybe. I can't remember. It was like 89 or 90. But it is by Dr. Seuss, and it is a very important book to me because I think it represents kind of the uncertainty as a child and like kind of what your life is going to be like, and you're not for sure if you're going to make it to whatever destination you're dreaming of. But I think Oh, the Places You'll Go is very suiting for this card, and I think it'll make me smile when I go to look at it when I'm at my work. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up so we can do that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this stamped out. We're going to go ahead and pick up the stamp here, and then we're going to use our anti-static tool just so that the white embossing powder doesn't stick to a place we don't want it to. And then we'll just use some clear ink here from Honeybee Stamps and go ahead and get this stamped out. Alrighty, we have that done. Now let's go ahead and get this dipped into some white embossing powder. Boy, I don't like the feeling of the powder, you guys. It drives me insane. I know it's weird, but all right, it's perfect. So this, I'm gonna heat emboss this. I'm gonna use the die to cut it out, and then we'll be right back to finish up the card. Okay, the last thing to do on this card is we're just gonna place the sentiment on here. Take the backing off of the foam tape. Then we're gonna place this down. Make sure that's even. Because we want it to be even. If I have to look at it at my desk, I need to make sure it's even so I don't drive myself crazy. But here we go. Here's the card. It's super simple. Again, this card is for me. I wanted it to be simple. I want to be able to look at it at my desk at work and just really enjoy and remember, things might get tough, things might get hard. You might go back and, remember things that maybe aren't so good and wonder why things happened. But I always have this to look at to understand that I am where I am now. I'm a card maker, volunteer, all kinds of good things. And I have to remember that. So I hope that just watching this video, hopefully this inspires you to make a card for yourself. But also just remember, life is good. You're breathing, you're awake, you're good. So make sure that you click the links down in the description to check out all the products that I used today. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so that you know a new video has come out. Third, leave a comment down below. Tell me what state you currently live in. And then last, share the love. If you know someone that may like this video, go ahead and send it out to them. Until next week, I hope you guys have a great time. Bye.